In certain forgotten places, the veil between this world and the unknown grows thin, and things slip through. Deep in the Nevada desert, where the ground is cracked and the air forgets to move, there's a wound in the earth where that veil stretched, warped, and tore, and the nightmare that crawled out was never meant to be seen. Tonight on Whispers After Dark, we follow the trail of a strange disappearance and what was waiting beneath the dust. But first, support our channel by subscribing, then like and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now let's get on with the story. The first time someone disappeared out on the dry flats near Axton Wash, it was written off as heat stroke. A solo hiker, 1982, found his vehicle, never found him. Over the years, more went missing. Always in the same stretch of lake bed, far off the grid, where the wind seemed to stop and time stretched thin. Locals told stories. Sure, government bunkers, magnetic anomalies, whispers about things crawling up from the salt. Park rangers learned not to ask questions. But when a group of amateur ghost hunters vanished over 4th of July weekend, Ranger Eli Ward was ordered to investigate. They were influencers, apparently. College kids who ran a paranormal YouTube channel called Night Watch Files. There were 4 of them, 3 guys and 1 girl, all in their early 20s. They'd made a name for themselves by filming overnight challenges in haunted places. Abandoned hospitals, forgotten cemeteries, off-limit military tunnels. Nothing had ever happened, not really. Just jump scares, weird noises, and the occasional prank between friends. But the views were climbing, and they wanted something bigger. So when they came across a thread about unexplained disappearances in the Nevada flats near Axton Wash, places where phones died, compasses spun, and hikers were never seen again, they planned their next stunt. A full 24 hours camped on the dry lake bed, cameras rolling, hoping to catch something real. They even joked about it on their last upload. If we vanish, at least the algorithm will love us. And vanish they did. Deadwind Flats was the last place they were seen, a desolate stretch of dry lake bed in the Nevada desert, marked only by a cracked boundary post and a sun-bleached warning sign no one had bothered to remove. Their final video went live that night. Campfire setup, shaky night vision, a few nervous jokes. By morning, all 4 were gone. No bodies, no tracks. Just a scorched ring where the fire had been, and a phone buried in the dust, still recording. The footage they left behind had already gone viral by the time Eli arrived. Local deputies found a single phone half buried in the dust at the center of the old lake bed. The last video on it wasn't shot by hand. It came from a drone. The screen flickered with wind noise, rising and falling in static pulses. The drone hovered above a small campsite, 3 tents arranged in a triangle, a low fire burning in the center. The lake bed stretched out in all directions like a barren moonscape. No roads, no shadows, just the firelight and the bone-dry earth. And then it caught movement. Something was crawling across the flats. Fast, but not human. The movement was too low, its limbs spidered out at impossible angles, bending where no joints should be, like a marionette with its strings pulled wrong. It scuttled, fluid and bone snappingly quick, then stopped abruptly, just outside the ring of firelight, and then it rose. Not stood, rose, as if unfolding from within itself, towering, still. The figure was wrong in every direction. Limbs too long, torso stretched like it had been pulled thin, face hidden beneath something that draped over its shoulders in long, wet strips. Not cloth. Something heavier. Something that sagged, like skin peeled loose and left to dry in the sun. The drone shuddered midair as it pivoted. The mic picked up panic, shouts, footsteps pounding across dust, a woman crying out. One voice rose above the others, a scream, piercing. Then cut off mid-breath. The camera swung back. The figure was closer now, inside the circle of tents, head tilted slightly. The fire flared, then died, and the feed dissolved into static. Eli rewatched it twice, then he hiked in. The wind was dead still when he reached the lake bed. That was the first thing that struck him. Not a breeze, not a sound. The air felt heavy, electric. There were no insects, no birds, no tracks. Just the burn marks from the fire pit and the impression of tents long since blown flat. He circled wide around the remnants of the camp, scanning for wildlife, any sign of life. Nothing. Not a single print, not a single sound. The world was too still, like the desert itself was holding its breath. Then he noticed the ground. Beneath the thin crust of dust, the earth was broken, disturbed in strange, irregular patches. Not boot prints, not tire tracks, smaller, shallower, like something had dragged itself across the lake bed. The depressions were long, narrow, spaced wrong. Some looked like hands, others like knees. But the way they moved, arching, winding, weaving around the fire pit in looping paths, it reminded Eli of something serpentine, or something hunting. He followed the trail, pulse rising. It led him nearly a mile across the open flats, ending at a shallow depression in the earth, a sunken scar in the lake bed, maybe 10 feet wide, rimmed in jagged, cracked stone. A natural sinkhole at first glance. But the center was wrong. It was blistered, puckered, blackened like something had burned its way up from beneath the surface. The soil was warped, melted in places. Charred veins stretched out in all directions like a starburst, faint but visible beneath the dust. Eli stepped to the edge, and the wind hit him. Not a breeze, a sudden, sour blast of air that surged from the pit like an exhale. Cold, metallic, thick with the scent of copper, rot, and something chemical, like scorched plastic and dried blood. He staggered back, gagging. The dust around the rim began to twist, not randomly, purposefully, spiraling inward, drawn into the mouth of the earth like water circling a drain. Then, from deep below, something hissed. Not an animal, not wind, breathing, wet, shuddering, hungry. He didn't stay long. Whatever was down there, he didn't want to know it any better than he already did. Later, back at his outpost, he filed a report, kept it simple, marked the area restricted, cited unstable ground and signs of chemical seep. Nothing more. He didn't mention the footage, he didn't mention the smell, and he didn't write down what he saw when he turned back toward his truck and cast one last glance across the lake bed, because standing just beyond the fire pit's charred remains was a figure, tall, motionless, right where the shadows started. Its body was wrong, slouched, stretched, like it had forgotten how to stand properly. The heat shimmered off the salt crust, but the figure didn't blur. It just stood there, locked in place, as if it had been waiting for him to look back. And Eli, he looked too long. He turned back once, just before opening the door to his truck. Something moved at the far edge of the lake bed. At first, it looked like part of the ground was shifting, the crust of dust and salt cracking open as something began to pull itself free, low, crawling, long limbs digging into the earth like it hated the light, like it belonged somewhere deeper. Then it rose, slowly, deliberately, too tall, too thin, silhouetted against the scorched horizon. Eli didn't wait to see what it would do next. He got in, slammed the door, started the engine with shaking hands. But in the rearview mirror, just for a moment, he saw it take a step forward and stop, watching, anchored in place like it had been standing there for a very long time. He didn't look for long, didn't need to. The shape was burned into his memory by the time he shut the door, and as the engine turned over, he knew whatever was out there hadn't finished yet. That concludes tonight's story. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the dark. If something ever crawls out of the earth near you, don't film it, don't follow it, and whatever you do, don't look it in the eyes. Thanks for listening to Whispers After Dark. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. It helps the channel grow and keeps the darkness close. Don't forget to leave us a comment. New stories drop regularly, each one darker than the last. So stay curious, stay cautious, and beware of the whispers after dark.